what's going on, Dodgers Nation? D-Mac here. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. Daniel Hudson out for the remainder of the season. Dustin May throwing triple-digit heat. Got a big update on D-May, Blake Treinen, Andrew Heaney. Should the Dodgers make a trade for an impact bullpen piece? Who are some names they might consider targeting? We're going to dive into that in just a second, but quick reminder, for all latest Dodgers news, rumors, hype videos, interviews, breakdowns, and more all season long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. And as always, I want your takes down below in the comment section. Today's Dodgers Nation questions of the day. What do the Dodgers need to do now that Daniel Hudson is done for the season? Do they need to trade for an impact reliever? Do they have the internal options? Do you trust that Blake Treinen is going to come back and assume that role? Also, how should the Dodgers use Dustin May when he returns following the All-Star break? Let me know down below. Also, who are some names you want to see the Dodgers target if you want to see them make a bullpen trade? Throw some names out there. We're going to do some more in-depth videos coming up, but let me know down below. And as always, for all the latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. So I'm absolutely sick after what I saw yesterday. Daniel Hudson, or as I like to call him, high leverage Huddy, he goes down with an apparent knee injury, and then after the game, Dave Roberts, he confirmed it was an ACL injury and that he's likely going to be done for the season. And then later we learned that it is indeed a torn ACL and that Hudson is done for the remainder of the 2022 season. And following the game, Dave Roberts, he talked about the injury to Huddy and how big of a blow this is going to be for this Dodgers pen.
From everything I hear, it's ACL. So it just doesn't look, obviously it doesn't look good from all indications. So, things can happen, but I just don't see how it's not the end of the season. So it's potentially a huge loss for us. But, Huddy's a guy that we count on in a lot of different ways. On the field, one of the leaders in the clubhouse, always doing the right thing, saying the right thing. And obviously with Blake down, we've relied heavily on him in leverage spots. So to, not have him with us, there's a exponential effect to our ball club. But, we got to move forward.
And so first and foremost, your heart hurts for Huddy. This is a guy that's battled injuries throughout his career, a double Tommy John guy. The Dodgers, of course, signed him to a one-year, $7 million deal in the offseason. He returns to L.A., and he was phenomenal in that high-leverage spot. In Blake Treinen's absence, he stepped in there, and he filled that role, and he did a damn good job. If you look at his numbers before he went down, a 2.22 ERA, a 2.05 FIP. He led all Dodgers relievers with .8 F4, and he was a guy that was just building confidence. The strikeout stuff was there. You saw him miss bats. He had the heater that was just blowing past guys, and really, this is a big blow to this Dodgers bullpen. Now, who's going to step up with Daniel Hudson out? Well, you saw Brusdar Graterol. He had a nice appearance yesterday. They've discovered Yency Almonte. They've unlocked him by having him ditch that four-seam fastball and going with that lethal sinker-slider combination, Yency Al Money. And then how about Evan Phillips, Dr. Phil? He's a guy that the Dodgers have unlocked as well. Those guys have to continue to produce. And then you've got Alex Vesia, who hasn't pitched his best this month, a 4.70 ERA in the month of June, but on the year, a 3.32 ERA, a 30.2 strikeout rate. If you look at that FIP, a 2.29 FIP. So Vesia is a guy that they're still going to use in spots against left-handed batters. And then don't forget about Justin Brull. He hasn't had his best year, a 3.86 ERA, a 4.77 FIP. He's going to re-enter this Dodgers bullpen. And then you got Phil Bickford. Phil Bickford has had the regression year that some people feared he might have. A 5.48 ERA this season. Last year, he was a breakout guy for the Dodgers, a revelation for LA. Had that 2.50 ERA. He was a rubber arm. They threw him in tons of different spots, but he hasn't been the same this season. And then, of course, the big question I have is what is the status with Blake Treinen? And we're going to give you an update on Blake right now. Now, Blake Treinen Treinen was outstanding for the Dodgers in 2021. A 288 FIP, a 29.7 strikeout rate. Opponents hit 178 off him, had a .98 whip. He was the fireman for LA, that high leverage guy that could throw into any spot. But unfortunately, he only pitched in 3 games so far this season. There were some fears that maybe he was going to be out for the whole year, especially after he signed that extension with the Dodgers. A lot of people thought, hey, maybe that means that he's done for the season. Well, not so fast, because earlier in the week, Blake told reporters, "I'm feeling good. There's been some obvious times when you're going to push the threshold, be sore, try to make that soreness level become normal where you don't feel anything and push the threshold. So we're getting some strength training, so there's resilience in the arm, and there's been some ups and downs, but for the most part, no setbacks. So that's good. Things feel good." He would go on to say, "But honestly, we're just not trying to set a timetable on like, hey, let's get to here, let's get to here, let's get to here. Probably in a few weeks there could be a bullpen possibility, but I haven't really looked into that. I know that they have a schedule, it's a loose schedule, and even with it as loose as it is, there's optimism that sooner than later I'll have a chance to be back with the team." So that's a very encouraging update when it comes to Blake Treinen, because there were some legitimate and serious fears that he could not pitch again for the remainder of this season. If he can come back and he can be that high leverage guy, that could solve a lot of the problems for this Dodgers bullpen, because they need him in the worst way, especially when on top of everything, you lose Tommy Kahnle. So the Dodgers' 3 high leverage relievers this season, Blake Treinen, Daniel Hudson, and Tommy Kahnle, at the moment are all out. Those are the 3 guys they expected to be the setup man for Craig Kimbrell. If you look at the Dodgers' 60-day IL right now, you've got Buehler, Duffy, Gonzalez, Kahnle, May, Nelson, Treinen, Rios, Pilar, and Hudson should be on there very soon. So look, what this Dodger team needs is they need an influx of talent in that Dodgers bullpen, and maybe Danny Duffy comes back. He's been posting some videos where he's throwing 93. Maybe he can come back and he can be that guy that can give you multiple innings of relief out of that Dodgers bullpen. He was really solid before he went down with the injury in 2021. And then, of course, there's Dustin May. That is the big X factor for the Dodgers. Dustin May, I saw it with my own eyes. I was at the game on the field at Dodger Stadium last Saturday, and I can tell you firsthand that that fastball is absolutely electric. He was hitting triple digits. You see the life on the heater, and he's still recovering from the Tommy John surgery that he underwent last May, but he is making real progress. He's checking off tons of boxes in his return, and the latest with Dustin May, according to Dave Roberts, is that he faced hitters yesterday in Arizona in an up and down situation, and his velocity sat between 98 and 101 miles per hour. And Bill Plunkett of the OC Register, he reported that the plan is to bring May back as a starter, and that the flamethrower could begin a minor league rehab assignment in mid-July. So they're looking to build him up as a starting pitcher, and the fact that he's already facing hitters, the fact that his velo is what it is, it's very encouraging for the Dodgers, and maybe he can be that spark plug. Maybe he can be a 2014 Mad Bum that can just go out there and shove and be the Dodgers' secret weapon. Maybe use him for some starts, maybe use him as an opener, have someone piggyback off of him. Maybe you have him come in as a middle reliever that can give you multiple innings of relief, or maybe you use him as a closer. Could you see Dustin May getting the final 3 outs in the World Series because he's got that top shelf stuff, he's got that filthy 2-seam fastball. It's a lot to put on a guy's shoulder, especially when you consider the fact that he's still recovering from that Tommy John surgery. But I'm telling you, I've seen this stuff with my own eyes, and I'm telling you right now that if Craig Kimbrell doesn't completely figure things out as the Dodgers closer, they should strongly consider having Dustin May get those final 3 outs in a big spot in October. And then on top of everything else, Andrew Heaney, he's back on the IL. The Dodgers, they placed him on the 15-day IL, and the timeline for his return is unknown. So he's back on the IL with left shoulder inflammation, and Dave Roberts, he told reporters it's a little worrisome, a little frustrating for Andrew, because he did a lot to get back to that point, but it's where we are at. So our job now, and his job, is to do whatever we can to get him back on the mound as soon as we can. So that's not good news, because we know Andrew Heaney, he was solid. I mean, you saw his start this week against the Guardians. He was really solid. He allowed 1 run in 5 innings of work. You saw improved fastball. The velocity was up. He didn't even have the best feel for that sweeping slider that he was dominant with early in the season. So we'll see what happens with Andrew Heaney, and I think it's pretty clear at this point. The Dodgers will have to go to market and trade for a pitcher, whether it's another starting pitcher, whether it's an impact reliever, or both. They're going to have to make some moves because I'm telling you, the internal options, they're just not there. Guys you can trust in October. Now, here's some names that you might want to consider. Of course, you got David Bednard, the Pirates closer. He's elite. He is under team control until the 2026 season, so he would cost a big haul. And also on top of that, are the Pirates really going to trade him when you consider the fact that they expect to be contenders in the next 2-3 seasons? So maybe they keep him with the Buccos, but he's been outstanding. A 1.30 ERA, a 2.25 FIP, a .78 WHIP, strikes out a lot of guys, 11 saves on a bad Pirates teams. But another name to talk about, Michael Givens of the Cubs, Michael Fuller of the Tigers, and then David Robertson of the Cubs. He's 37, a 1.95 ERA, that FIP at 3.48, the BABIP at 1.93, so he's due for some regression. But I'm going to do a deep dive on some bullpen trade options, but those are some names you might want to think about. But there's some other names out there we're going to include in a video coming up, so be on the lookout for that. And let me know down below in the comment section, do you think they need to make a trade for an impact reliever? Do you think Dustin May can come back and have a massive impact, and how should the Dodgers use him? Let me know down below. My name is DMAC. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMAC_LA. For all latest Dodgers news, rumors, hype videos, interviews, breakdowns, and more all season long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.